Greetings, I'm Zachary Hepner. I'm pleased to share this Dvar Torah with you for Parashat Behar Bechukotai. In Vayikra 26:42, at the conclusion of the tochacha, the rebuke, words of consolation appear. וזכרתי את בריתי יעקב, and I will remember my covenant with Jacob. Rashi comments, here it's written with a vav 5 times, whereas with Eliyahu, it's written without a vav 5 times. Ya'akov took a letter from Eliyahu's name as a pledge that Eliyahu would come and announce the redemption of his children. It's unclear where Rashi got such tradition. Hazal do observe elsewhere that some names are spelled differently than others, but the specific source for this Rashi remains unknown to me. It's noteworthy that the 6th time Eliyahu is spelled without a vav is in Divrei Hayamim, which is either ignored because it's in Ketuvim, or Rashi did not have the variation for this version of Divrei Hayamim. That leaves the 5th variation of Eliyahu as Eliah, spelled without a vav, in the penultimate verse of Malakhi. Hine anochi shalech lechem et Eliah hanavi lifnei bo yom Hashem hagadol v'hanara. I will send the prophet Elijah to you before the coming of the awesome, fearful day of Hashem. In fact, the connection is not just in letters, but it's in words and themes. In those final verses of Malakhi, the prophet instructs Israel, Zichru, Torah Moshe Avdi, Asher Tzivi Toto B'chorev Al Kol Yisrael Chukim U'Mishpatim. Remember the Torah of Moshe, my servant, which I commanded him at Chorev for all of Yisrael, Chukim U'Mishpatim, statutes and laws. This resonates with the final verse in the Tochacha in Vayikra, Ele HaChukim v'hamishpatim v'hatorot. These are the statutes, the rules, and the instructions which Hashem established through Moshe on Har Sinai with the Bnei Yisrael. The phrase Zichru Torah Moshe Avdi resonates with וזכרתי lahem brit rishonim. Additionally, the final verse of Malakhi, which was not included in the campy song, which we often sing about Eliyahu, resonates with the entire tochacha, the entire rebuke, and its urgent message of teshuvah. V'heshiv levavot al banim, v'lev banim al avotam, pen avo, v'hiketi et kol haaretz cherem. He shall reconcile parents with children, and children with their parents, so that when I come, I do not strike the whole land with utter destruction. The warning that the whole land could be struck with destruction is itself an allusion to the very concept of divine rebuke, as a consequence of neglecting God's covenant. The relationship between Yaakov and Elijah is linked by their shared role in eschatological revelations. Hazal indicate in Bereshit Rabbah 98 that Yaakov intended to reveal the end of days to his children, but it eluded him. This is famously cited by Rashi on Genesis 49:1. He'asfu v'agida lachem. Yaakov, he wished to reveal the end, but the divine presence departed from him, and he began to say other things instead. Furthermore, there are only 2 biblical characters whom Hazal indicate never died. Eliyahu, who ascended to heaven in a whirlwind, and Yaakov. In Ta'anit 5b, Rabbi Yitzchak quotes Rabbi Yochanan as saying, Yaakov Avinu lo met, he never died. The sages were confused, since Yaakov was explicitly embalmed in the text. But the Talmud concludes, just as his descendants are alive, so too Yaakov himself is alive. Parenthetically, the children of Korach also didn't die, but that's for a different discussion. While we may be uncertain about the source of Rashi's comment regarding the altered spelling of Yaakov and Eliyahu, the message is nonetheless clear. God's rebuke is not capricious nor malicious. He wants to preserve his children and urge them to return to him. Yaakov saw in the end of days and believed that his children would remain alive and keep the Jewish neshama alive. Eliyahu, however, struggled, and at one point seemed to ask God to accept his resignation. We might think that God accepted the resignation, but in truth, Eliyahu is still on our case. He has not given up. So what we have is Yaakov never gave up, Eliyahu may or may not have tried to give up, but God never gives up, and he will not give up on us either. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.